A very special edition of the warm-up. I'm Mark the Phantom Lowe. I am welcoming a member of the coaching staff, a member of the training staff. I think I'm welcoming the entire training staff. Emma the trainer. That's all I know you. Emma, welcome.
I'm happy to be here, Pam.
Well, it's fantastic finally get you up here. I was looking at your bio here, and usually these are not right, but all I see in yours is just all kinds of licenses and certifications and stuff like that. You should be like the national team trainer. What are you doing here in Lincoln?
So Lincoln was actually my very first home when I became an athletic trainer. So I used to do some clinical rotations at Sierra College. The athletic trainer there obviously knew Ryan Stevens. When Ryan was, taking the general manager, or the manager position here at the Potters, he was looking for an athletic trainer who had overhead experience, worked with baseball players, wanted to work with baseball players. And Brandon, named me. And I remember there was a Little League conference we had going on here, and it was all the coaches. They were just talking about, like anything coaching related, but they also had a portion where they talked about injuries in Little League. And so he said, this will kind of be your interview. Let's see how you do. And I showed up here, and I kind of just talked about, Little League elbow. I talked about kind of pitch counts at that age, talking about the goal of, what baseball players are doing when they're just kids.
Right.
It's obviously different at the college level. And they loved me. They're like, we'd love to have you here at the Potters.
Well, listening to it, I love you too. I mean, that sounds great.
Yeah, I mean, it was, I was just spreading my knowledge. I mean, I kind of saw it as an interview. I was a little nervous, but I mean, just talk about what I knew at the time. I was the athletic trainer at Results Physical Therapy in Sacramento. And
so you weren't a newbie.
I was not a newbie, but I was kind of new to being certified. So I had been involved in athletic training first in the Bay Area, and then when I transferred to Sacramento State, I did the program there. So I was not new to it, but this was kind of my first home, and I never really left. It's just, it's been part of my life.
Let's go back before that. Let's go back to when Emma's just kind of like trying to figure out what she's going to do, and what pointed you in this direction?
So I actually always knew I wanted to be in the medical field. I think in high school I wanted to go to med school. I wanted to do anesthesiology.
Did you play sports in high school?
I did. I was a competitive cheerleader for about 13 years. So I, had a lot of injuries.
Were you ever the top of the pyramid?
Yes.
Oh,
I
man.
mean,
those people.
I'm
talk
pretty
about
short.
courage.
I mean, I guarantee, the spectators have seen me run out there.
Yes, they have.
So I'm pretty small. So I had a lot of injuries. I worked a lot with sports medicine. Physicians, PTs, not really athletic trainers. I didn't really know what athletic training was in high school. And I was trying to decide what to do, decided to go to Ohlone College, got in contact with the kinesiology department head, Jeff Roberts there, and he said, I think what you're describing is athletic training. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a career where you get to work with athletes and you get to do all these things. He's like, yeah, that's what I do. And I was like, come to Jesus moment, like, oh my gosh.
So you described your ideal job, and it already was there.
It was already there.
Waiting for you.
I, first semester, took his clinicals, and I never looked back. And it's kind of crazy because out of high school, I was like, I'm going to a 4-year. I'm going to get the whole experience.
Right.
And then I ended up going community college, finding my favorite thing in the world.
Because you were following what you wanted to do.
Exactly.
Right, yeah.
And so I just really went with my gut, and somehow it brought me to Lincoln, and I never left.
Well, tell me what's, you've been doing this for a couple of years now, so what is it that you like the most about working, specifically in the summer, specifically for the Potters?
Of course. So I've worked at a variety of settings, and they all have their pros and cons, but I think what I like about working with collegiate athletes is you are working with very high-level athletes, but you're getting them at a really monumental time. Either they do know a lot about their body, or they do know what they should be doing, what they shouldn't be doing, or they don't. And honestly, the fact that you have that variety really means that if you enjoy to educate and you enjoy to, get the rapport with the player and get them on a program that's going to make them successful and perform well and keep them healthy, I mean, it's kind of the best scenario to be in.
I want to be a trainer now too.
I know.
Listening to you. This is fantastic. Emma, I won't keep you too much longer, but I want to ask you, we have, we'll probably have, as you do talk about, kids come out and they watch the Potters play, 8-year-old kids, 10-year-olds, 12-year-old kids. But if you had a chance to talk to kids like that, like you did when you were doing your Little League thing, what are some of the things you would tell kids who are planning to get into sports, but specifically baseball, as far as what they can do at an early age to take care of themselves?
So, currently when I'm not at the Potters, I have my own business with my husband, and we are kind of trying to impose a part of it with reaching the youth, reaching high school athletes. And the main thing I would tell them is, what we thought back then has completely changed.
Everything's different.
You have so many resources, and it really does start moving right early, start learning how to lift properly, start learning all these movement patterns. Because I mean, the perfect example is a kid that gets on a trampoline. For a second, they're like, a little shaky, and then all of a sudden they look normal, right? You see an adult try to do that, and it takes the whole day, and they still can't figure it out.
I didn't even want to talk about it. It scares me talking about it.
So I think that is the true application of that. If they can learn that stuff early, they will be leaps and bounds ahead of, their teammates and other people who just, focus on just the specialty, just the game.
Stuff,
exactly,
yeah.
Because, I mean, if you've been playing for as long as you have, that stuff's become muscle memory. But if you lose how to learn, if you lose how to move properly, all of that stuff is going to change, and you're going to have these aches and pains pop out of nowhere, and you're going to be like, I don't know what's going on. I do think you see a lot less of that when the athlete is very in tune to their body and, uses the resources that are now available to us.
Well, if somebody wants to get in touch with you, you and your husband, the business, how do they do that? And they want to ask you some questions about this.
Of course. So we have a website, thehubbhw.com. I offer telehealth services in case there is like an injury situation, but my husband does the nutrition, performance training, personal training side, and so we offer. I mean, our business is called the Hub.
Yeah.
Our last name is Hubbell. It was
kind full service
exactly.
kind of thing. Yeah.
So if somebody just has an ache or pain, or a parent is worried, they can reach out to us, send us a message. We have our phone numbers, our emails, all of that on there, so we can at least point them in the right direction. Athletic trainers are not the end all be all, but the more you know and the more you see. I mean, like I said, I'm the only one here, and for the most part, I reach out to local physicians that we have here if I need them. I'm never afraid to refer, but it's always a team effort. But that's probably the best way to get a hold of us.
Well, it took us a long time to get you up here, but it was really worth the wait. Emma the trainer, thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you again. Well, we're going to talk again. We've got to get together again.
Now that I've been up here, it's kind of electric.
Remember thehub.com. That's a look at the Potters on the training side with Emma. We're back with more in the pregame right after this.